as guided by the notice that was distributed to all members of parliament earlier. She further stated that honorable ministers, the first and second deputy speakers, the honorable government chief whip, and the honorable leader of opposition and the honorable deputy government chief whip would attend the symposium on any day of their choice. Madam Speaker urged all honorable members to attend the important event.
Thereafter, there was one matter of urgent public importance that was raised under Standing Order 134, and this came from Mr. Kafaya on the subject matter, the Minister of Finance and National Planning failure to lay before the House the 2023 financial report of the Republic in accordance with the Constitution, and so this matter was admissible.
After that urgent matter of public importance, the House considered questions for oral answer numbers 339 under Standing Order number 76, and the House considered questions for oral answer numbers 340 to 343 under Standing Order number 73.
The House went on to consider the report of the Committee on Local Governance, Housing and Chiefs Affairs on the performance audit report of the management of urban and regional planning in Zambia with a focus on land usage 2017 to 2021 for the second session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 29th June 2023. So this report was moved by Minulonga Member of Parliament, Mr. Newton Samagai, and this report was adopted.
There was also consideration of the Environmental Management Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2023. The bill was read accordingly the second time and committed to the Committee of the Whole House, and committee stage is expected to take place this week.
The House also considered the Zambia Institute of Valuation Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2023, which was also read the second time in the committee, and it was committed to the Committee of the Whole House, and the committee stage will be taken this week.
And thereafter, we did see a presentation of some motions, the first one being moved by Chipangali lawmaker, Mr. Lubusha, that the House do adopt the report of the Committee on Cabinet Affairs on the implementation of the National Monitoring and Evaluation Policy in Zambia for the second session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 27th June 2023.
Thereafter, at the time, business was interrupted. Debate on the motion stood adjourned on Friday, 7th July 2023. On the floor of the House was the Minister of Justice, Honorable Kakuo, who was responding to the report of the Committee on National Security and Foreign Affairs, on the report of the Auditor General on the control and regulation of illegal migrants in Zambia for the second session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on Friday, 23rd June 2023. So that is basically business that was considered on the floor of the House on Friday, 7th July 2023. We shift our attention and look at today's order paper.
Absolutely. We have one question for oral answer understanding order number 74 and 12 questions for oral answer understanding order number 74. And we're going to have a resumption of debate on the report of the Committee on National Security and Foreign Affairs. Before the Speaker's presentation makes its way into the chamber, we'll quickly look at some of the questions that are expected to be considered on the floor of the House.
The first question for oral answer under Standing Order 76 will come from Chasefu Member of Parliament, Mr. Mishek Nyambose. He's posing this question to the Minister of Agriculture. He wants to find out whether the government is aware that members of camp agriculture committees in Chasefu district have been getting part of the fertilizer meant for farmers under the Farmer Input Support Program, thereby depriving farmers to their full package under that program. And in the B part of the question, if so, what agent measures are being taken? And so there you have it on your screen, is Madam Speaker's procession making its way to the chamber. Stay tuned right here on Parliament Radio, even as we continue bringing Parliament closer to you.
Madam Speaker! Yeah.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessings descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Order. We go to matters of urgent public importance. The Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I wish to raise a matter of urgent public importance pursuant to Standing Order 134. Madam Speaker, at 135, it looks at admissibility of a matter of urgent public importance. A, B, and C under 135, especially C, which talks about it involves the administrative or ministerial responsibility of government. Madam Speaker, we have noted with concern a trend by political party functionaries summoning civil servants. In this particular case, Madam Speaker, the Secretary General of the UPND has not only been going around inspecting CDF projects, something that we do not agree with as your members on the left, because we're familiar with the guidelines and the laws that govern the Constituency Development Fund. However, Madam Speaker, he has gone to the extent of summoning civil servants. Madam Speaker, this is a very important matter that we feel government must resolve. Where we are now, the governance system that we have is not a one-party state, Madam Speaker, where you have party and its government. And if we continue on this trajectory, one, it's going to affect the effective and efficient functioning of government, and the frustration of civil servants. Madam Speaker, I raise this matter. I feel it's very, very important and should not be trivialized. Government must seriously look into this matter to ensure that we have sanity in the civil service. So the matter is raised on our honor, the Vice President and Leader of Government Business. Is she in order to continue allowing party functionaries and, especially the party Secretary General of the UPND, to continue interfering with the proper functioning of the civil service? I need your guidance, Madam Speaker, and I thank you.
Thank you so much for that urgent matter. We agree this is it's a serious matter that would need to be addressed. However, just from the way, when you look at it and which matters are supposed to be admissible, this issue is not new. I think we've been hearing and seeing the SG going round. It didn't happen like last week. It has been there for some time now. And then also, we don't know what catastrophe that would bring if that issue is not addressed. So for this, I would advise the Leader of Opposition to bring this matter back to the House using another avenue. Thank you. There are so many avenues. You've got Her Honor the Vice President's question time. You've got urgent questions, understanding order number 76, number 74. I think we have several avenues that the Leader of Opposition can bring back that matter to the House. We make progress. Question for oral answer, understanding order number 76. The Honorable Member for Chasefu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Question number 344.
Order. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member for Chasefu asked the Minister of Agriculture, A, whether government is aware that members of camp agriculture committees in Chasefu district have been getting part of the fertilizer meant for farmers under the Farmer Input Support Program, thereby depriving farmers of their full package under the program. B, if so, what urgent measures are being taken to ensure that farmers are not deprived of their fertilizer in the next farming season? And finally, Madam Speaker, whether the government has any plans to abolish the CACs countrywide. Madam Speaker, government is not aware that camp agriculture committees in Chasefu district are depriving farmers of their fertilizer. Like any other district in the country, the fertilizer distribution in Chasefu district was based on the submitted beneficiary list that came from the farmers' organizations in the district. In addition, Madam Speaker, collection of packs was done in a transparent manner where members of CACs, together with the farmers' organizations, met and distributed the packs. Further, government does not support the splitting of FISIP packs in any way. However, government has taken note and will institute investigations in the matter. For B, Madam Speaker, through the offices of the provincial culture coordinators, government will ensure that the correct beneficiaries are identified in all districts, including Chasefu, in the 2023-24 farming season. In addition, there will be sensitization of all eligible farmers on the need to have the right details captured on the beneficiary list. Finally, C, Madam Speaker, the CACs are a community-driven process. Therefore, it is up to the community to decide whether the structure should continue or it can be done away with, or indeed the members changed. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kasenengwa.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. The people of Kasenengwa would like to ask a question to the Minister of Agriculture. This problem, Madam Speaker, is not only peculiar to Chasefu, much as it is a constituency-based question. My question to the Minister of Agriculture is, now that this has come to your attention and despite your answers, are you willing as government to do an audit in all these camps across the country? Because this problem is not only prevalent in Chasefu, it's almost everywhere. Are you willing as government to do an audit?
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when I was answering under A, the last statement I gave was, however, government has taken note and will institute investigations into the matter. But let me add as follows. Madam Speaker, the issues of the camp officers, the agricultural committees, are within the authority of the members who are in this Honorable House. We can, together with the district agricultural officers, correct this situation. We normally do not get involved. We have been guiding that members of parliament, chiefs, district agriculture coordinators, community-based institutions like religious groupings, the ward councillors should all get involved. Why are we picking farmers who don't exist in our areas? The Minister of Agriculture alone will not manage to pick the right people. Together as a country, let's pick the right farmers so that we do the right things. This is a very serious pledge which we give every year. Otherwise, we'll continue giving fertilizer to the wrong target groups. And in the process, the fertilizer is sold outside the country because it is very heavily subsidized fertilizer. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Chasefu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Issue of FISIP and fertilizer threatens food security. The people of Chasefu, Honorable Minister, they have been registering reports. The latest is what you know about 81 bags which were still stolen, purported to have been stolen by the clergy. So many people pay to the government, but they don't receive the quantities as expected by government because of the same camp agriculture committees. You promised this House that members of parliament should be involved. Are you aware that your agriculture, your DACOs, are not willing to allow MPs to get involved in the process? If so, can you give me a letter? I want to get involved so that the fertilizer reach the intended farmers in Chasefu. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, that is the type of contribution.
Honorable members, let's listen to the
Thank
response.
You. That's the type of contribution that government is very willing to hear. We will therefore provide a general letter to all members of parliament so that the DACOs, the PACOs, can allow you access to the list. What do we want in this country? We want to give fertilizer to the right farmers. So why would anyone say no to that? So we will give the letter. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Dundumwezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Before I ask my question, allow me to congratulate the Minister of Agriculture for giving me extra satellite depots after he promised on this floor of the House. I was given 4 more extra depots, Honorable Minister, so I thank you very much. These are the ministers that we want to see. However, Honorable Minister, it seems there's a challenge in Chasefu. Agriculture is a practical job. Would you consider giving 1 pack of fertilizer as demos in Chasefu constituency to alleviate the current situation in Chasefu? I thank you very much.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me start by thanking the Honourable Member for his kind words. And this is for all Honourable Members in this House. If you want an extra depot for procurement of our produce, just come, we'll give you immediately the same day. But coming to the other question, Madam Speaker, I want to be frank, I did not get the question clearly. Are you saying I just give 1 pack to Chasefu, or I didn't quite get the question.
I will allow the Honorable Member for Dundumwezi to repeat the question.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me another opportunity. My question was, it's clear that there's a challenge in Chasefu, and I want to state that it's everywhere, like my other colleagues have indicated. And agriculture is a practical job. Wouldn't you consider giving them an incentive to these officers so that they can be using this 1 pack as a demonstration to their farmers? Speaking, it will not help us. What we need is, you give them a pack each. Probably it is going to reduce this situation in Chasefu and the entire country.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture, we hope it's clear now.
Madam Speaker, it's very clear, and I think our answer would be as follows. The current FISIP program on which the Chasefu Honourable Members based the question is given, the inputs are given to anyone unless those who are civil servants and are on pay. Therefore, there is no restriction on the CAC members. CAC members are actually members of the society in the villages, and they are free to obtain these FISIP benefits. So they are not restricted at all. But if I'm getting it correctly, he's saying we should give a demonstration pack to probably the DACO's office, which it can give to the maybe camp officer, so that it can be used as a demonstration field. I do not see anything wrong with that. We can consider that, so that each area has a demonstration field. But it will not change the malaise, the problem that we have. The problem we have is that the honourable members are allowing division of the packs against what we have planned. If I'm a farmer and I've applied, I want so many packs. When I'm given those packs, it should not be split. It should not be divided. People should not share fertilizers in dishes and pots and whatever. Immediately we do that, we are challenging the entire program. We are making it fair. So even if we give a demonstration pack, as long as the members are going to share, what are we going to achieve? The issue is don't allow sharing of a pack. Let the farmer who has applied get that pack and use it in the field. But we will consider what the honorable member has suggested. I thank you.
Thank you. The honorable member for Kabwe Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for allowing people of Kabwe Central. They are also farmers. Madam Speaker, just this morning, farmers in Kabwe, as well as I know it's in Chasef, the same complaint that they have, they are crying, they are asking how many packs each cooperative is supposed to receive. Because some are hearing 5 packs, some are hearing 7, some are hearing 12. So may the minister tell this House how many packs each cooperative is supposed to receive, so that even when we are full up, we know that this particular cooperative is supposed to receive so many packs. Thank you so much.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, I thank you. Unfortunately, I came to answer the question on Chasefu. I did not come with information on the number of packs per cooperative. But the guidance I can give, Madam Speaker, is as follows. The number of farmers to be supported has not changed. 1,024,434 farmers. The quantity of fertilizer we are going to distribute has not changed. The same quantity. Therefore, the same packs that you got last year should be looked at as the packs that you will be received for the cooperative number that are in that area. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Let us stick to the question. Let's not expand the question. In fact, there will be a ministerial statement. Is it tomorrow or Wednesday? Over the same. So most of those questions, you can reserve them for the ministerial statement. The honorable member for Chembe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, in the area of verification of these farmers, there is a concern by the people of Chasefu, including Chembe, to do with the letters that they need to collect from the traditional leaders for their verification. They are saying there is a cost that needs to be accrued as they do their verification. And at the same time, there is a cost to do with transport to move to where these traditional leaders live. What other measure are you putting in place in order to avoid our vulnerable farmers accrue these costs? Thank you.
I don't know whether that question is related to the question at hand for Chasefu. Had guided, please, let's stick to the question on the floor. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture, do you have an answer for that question?
Yes, I'll attempt, Madam Speaker, because it is a very important question. Madam Speaker, whatever measure we are putting in place is to make sure that we give fertilizer and seed to the right people. Now, we are asking that they should go and verify with the chief. Now, the honorable member is questioning that, saying it is costly. I think we should be avoiding that type of thought and let the farmers go and verify with the chiefs that indeed they have got a field. Because once we don't do that, that's how come we are giving fertilizer to traders. We are giving fertilizer to people who don't live in your area. These are means and ways of making sure that we give fertilizer to people in Chembe and not people from Chipata constituency. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Milanzi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I would want to know the procedure of enrolling new cooperatives on FISIP. Because what I have observed is that new cooperatives that are being enrolled are cooperatives that are affiliated to the ruling party. Yes, that are affiliated to the ruling party. What is the correct criteria that is being used to enroll new cooperatives? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The procedure is very easy. An existing cooperative or a new cooperative goes to register at the DACO's office. And if the members are verified to be genuine and correct, such can be considered. But remember, Madam Speaker, that it is the CACs, the same CACs we are talking about here, who will sit and accept that this is the cooperative which we would like this year to receive. So it is an issue which every member, Madam Speaker, including Honorable Meresiano, should get involved in. Right now, there are very few cooperatives that have been set aside. We are still dealing with a lot of the old cooperatives. Automatic separation from the cooperatives is going to be effected in 2025, because it means all these have been collecting, most of them will be set aside. So that problem should not really arise. Most of these are old cooperatives who are still getting. I'm very glad to know that in your area there are new cooperatives. That's the way it's supposed to be. But not political, no. In agriculture there's no politics. We all feed, we all eat food. I thank you.
Honorable members, just to guide again, this is a constituency-based question. And this question is simply asking whether the government is aware that members of CAP agriculture committees in Chasef district have been getting part of the fertilizer meant for farmers under the Farmer Input Support Program, thereby depriving the farmers of their full package under the program. Let us not expand the question, because I had guided that there will be a ministerial statement tomorrow to look at the registers and all those questions that are connected to the people on FISIP. So let us reserve those questions for tomorrow. Let's concentrate on the question at hand for Chasefu district. The Honorable Member from Pongwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, CAC members works with the camp officers. However, most camp officers have overstayed at one station. I can give you an example whereby a camp officer has stayed 20 years at one camp. They are planned by your ministry to transfer this camp officer so that the sanity is brought in the distribution of fertilizer. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My guidance would be as follows. It is important for the honorable members to know that officers in a district can be moved by authority of the district. So if you feel that camp officers in your area have overstayed, just go to the district administration, the district coordinator. They will be moved. Movement of district officers are within our authority as we sit here. It's the provincial ones who are difficult to move and the national ones who are difficult to move. So why should the camp officer be a difficult person to move, Madam Speaker? Let us know our rights and use our rights and our authority accordingly. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Chama North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for your response. It's unfortunate that the government is not aware that CAP officers are helping themselves with fertilizer in Chasefu when this is a serious matter. So I want to find out from the Minister whether the government is in process of instituting investigations or you have already instituted investigations over this matter. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In answering in A, the last statement was, government has taken note and we will institute investigations. In areas where we have had this information given to us, we have actually had a lot of these officers put into police, and some of them have got cases running. A good example would be if the member for Chipangari was here, he could have actually attested to that, that indeed we have taken action. We take them to police. We want to get rid of all the bad elements. So just let us know, we will have them arrested. And this, Madam Speaker, through you, is a warning to camp officers, block officers, members of the agriculture committees, provincial agriculture officers, or any other officer in the ministry. We will get you into serious trouble. This has to stop. 59 years into government, we cannot have government officers stealing. I thank you, Madam.
Thank you. I'll take the last three. The Honorable Member for Rubasenshi, Ron, and Kankoyo. In that order, the Honorable Member for Rubasenshi.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity that has been given to the people of Rubansenshi to ask a follow-up question to the Minister of Agriculture. Indeed, these people called Kaki, they play an important role in making sure that these cooperatives get fertilizer equitably. Now, Honorable Minister, to begin with, these people, it's voluntary. They don't get anything. And as the responsible members of this parliament, definitely we cannot support that. Now, my question to you, Honorable Minister, are you able to consider them to get at least an incentive as they are executing this national duty? Because we have DACOs, camp officers, or government workers or civil servants. But what about these khaki officers? What are you planning to make sure that they are executing this noble call? They are able also to taken care of. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I thought that question was raised by the Honorable Member for Dundumwezi. Do we have a different question, Honorable Minister of Agriculture?
Madam Speaker, I would prefer to answer the question directly to the Honorable Member. Yes. There is absolutely no way that we will give any monetary incentive to the CACs. Impossible. What is a CAC, Madam Speaker? If this House, as we are seated here, we are a farm organization, and then we say, in order that we don't give people outside this House, let's select a committee, and then we select the honorable member as chairman of CAC. Why should we give him anything? He's a farmer, he's already getting a subsidized input. So no. Those honorable member for Waseshi are wrong ideas. Don't harbor ideas like those. I thank you.
Honorable Minister, please don't point at the honorable member. The honorable member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, you have outlined quite a number of issues. I'm talking, Honorable Minister, are you listening?
Order, honorable members, the voices are becoming too loud. Let's not debate while seated. If we want to caucus, we can simply move out and then come back later to the House. You may continue, the honorable member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, once more. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for the message and the response that you've given so far, especially that you are going to generate letters that will outline our involvement into these agriculture activities in our districts. Honorable Minister, the honorable member for Chasefu is actually complained, and you can see that it is a bitter person. I want you to categorically state as to whether he can disband the CAC and replace it with the right people. Is that in order, Honorable Minister?
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
I thank you. Honestly, since I pointed at the honorable member, my finger is paining. I hope. Madam Speaker, to answer the question from the honorable member from Ron, the honorable member for Chasefu has influence to have the CAC disbanded. He does not, in his own right, have the authority, but he has influence to go and have that CAC disbanded. And if you have any difficulties, I'm inviting him to call me, and I will make a phone call, and that CAC will be disbanded immediately. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kankoyo.
I thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, where I come from, we say, Isa vidambila kumutu wakubora. Meaning, the rotting of the fish starts from the head. In the past, it was so fashionable for public servants or people involved in public service to steal because there was corruption starting from the head to the bottom. Now, should the people...
The Honorable Member...
should the people in Chasefu doubt...
Order, Honorable Member. Order. Order. This question is very important for the people of Chasefu. And indeed, even other people in other parts of the country. So as we are asking, making follow-up questions, please let's think of our people. Let's try not to politicize the question. Let's just ask the question so that the Honorable Minister will give a feedback. Because the people of Chasefu, they are listening, and also other Zambian farmers throughout the country. So please let us try to be very careful or very honest with ourselves as we ask the Honorable Minister the questions that we want our people to benefit from. The Honorable Member for Kankoyo, please go straight to your question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. With the current fight against corruption, should the civil servants in
Chasefu... Just indicate if you've got a point of order, just indicate.
With the current fight and the strong arm against corruption which are observing, because you have got a good head, should the civil servants in Chasefu be doubting what will follow to them? Should they still fertilizer for the people in Chasefu?
Honorable Member, there is an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Member for Lunte, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. My point of order is, of course, on my honorable colleague who is on the floor of the House, and it is based on Standing Order number 65. Madam Speaker, as I raise this point of order, I want to wave to you the FIC report for 2022, which I have duly put through the parliamentary system, and if you demand for it, I will lay it on the table. Madam Speaker, is my honorable colleague in order to stand on the floor of the House and start saying there was corruption in the past when this FIC report is showing 6.1 billion of corruption, 2022, Madam Speaker? Is it in order to say from the head of the past to the toe, people were corrupt when this 6.1 billion corruption is actually existing now? Madam Speaker, I seek your serious ruling, and I request that you ask him to withdraw and apologize. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Honorable members, thank you for that point of order. I had guided the member who was asking the question to stick to the question on the floor. The honorable member was out of order because you did not follow the question which is there. And if you look at the question, it's talking about the present, whether the government is aware that members of CAP agriculture committees in Chasefu have been getting part of the fertilizer meant for farmers. So they are asking, the honorable member of Chasefu is asking about this present situation on the floor in his constituency, not on the floor, in his constituency. So I think I have guided. The honorable member for Kankoyo was out of order. However, I had guided, given guide, because of that anomaly which I saw. So I have already guided the honorable member on the floor. So, honorable member, when I had guided, again you went back to mention about corruption and so many other things. You are again out of order. You are not following my guide. Is it possible, honorable member, to withdraw the word corruption? Because we are looking at the present, and then can you stick to the question for Chasefu, which is very specific?
Madam Speaker, sorry, I got confused with safety and corruption. These two words are interrelated. The question is about safety of farming inputs in Chasefu. Yeah, so it's safety of farming inputs in Chasefu by civil servants. So I'm saying, I can give an example. In the Ministry of Finance, 35 people have been arrested for safety of money
Member,
in the past.
Order.
Yeah.
Can you be focused to your question? This is just a supplementary question. Do you have a question or not, so that we make progress? Please, can you be specific?
The question is, Honorable Minister, should the civil servants in Chasefu doubt the capability of this government to clamp down any theft of public resources by being in position of privilege? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, I thank you, and I thank the honorable member for that important question. It is important for Chasefu to know, and those officers who are alleged to know, that if they stole anything, they will be arrested. And as our president has said, if you steal, you are on your own. There will be no defense whatsoever. So they will get arrested. There is no room for theft whatsoever. They will be arrested. I thank you.
Thank you. We make progress. Next question. Oral question for oral answer, understanding order number 74. The Honorable Member for Katombola. This question will be asked by the Honorable Member for Luena under prior arrangement.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The people of Luena asking on behalf of the people of Katombora, question 345, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Clement Adeleki, Member of Parliament for Katombora, is asking the Minister of Energy 3 questions. A, whether the government has any plans to rectify the following areas in Katombora parliamentary constituency: Nyawa, Kauwe, Momba, Nguva, Choma, Ngwezi, Kanchele, Bombwe, and Sikaunzie. The second question, if so, when the plans will be implemented? And finally, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, the answer to A is yes, the government of the Republic of Zambia, through the Rural Education Authority, RIA, has plans to rectify all the areas highlighted in Katombola parliamentary constituency. Answer to B, RIA visited 7 out of the 9 areas namely Nyawa, Kauwe, Nguva, Choma, Ngwezi, Vombwe, and Sikaunzwe, in the third quarter of 2022 and undertook feasibility studies to establish the scope and cost of electrification. The scope involved the construction of a total of 249 kilometers of high tension, 17.35 kilometers of low voltage overhead lines, and 10 transformers at an estimated cost of 117 million kwacha. The remaining two areas, namely Momba and Kanchele, will be visited in the third quarter under the 2023 scoping program to establish the scope of works and cost estimate. RIA has phased out the implementation of the project, with the first phase being Nyawa project under the 2023 work plan and budget at a cost of 23 million kwacha. Answer to C. This question has been addressed in our response to question A. Therefore, it falls off as submitted, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Luena.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the people of Katombora are happy to know that they are being considered in the plans that are unfolding. You have made reference to the fact that Nyawa will be covered in the projects that RIA will be undertaking later this year. Are you in a position to indicate at what stage in terms of processing the Nyawa project exactly it is at this stage, whether it's at procurement stage or it's at the project scoping stage, whatever stage, are you in a position to indicate for the information of the people of Katombora?
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable. Nyawa has already been scoped, and the estimated cost of the works is 23 million kwacha, as I indicated, and this will be carried out in this year's budget separate.
Thank you. Next question. The Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Question 346, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Kanchivia, Honorable Sunday Chanda, is asking the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development the following questions. A, whether government has any plans to rehabilitate the Serenge-Mpika stretch on the Great North Road. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And C, what the time frame for the completion of the project is. And we answer as follows, Madam Speaker. Question A, government has plans to rehabilitate the 235 kilometers of the Mpika-Serenge stretch of the Great North Road. Answer to B, the rehabilitation works on 30-kilometer stretch from Mpika to Serenge will be undertaken once a contractor and a supervising consultant has been engaged. The works will be undertaken with financing from African Development Bank, while the works on the remainder of the road section will be done once government mobilizes funds for the project. And the answer to C, the time frame for the completion of the project will only be known once the detailed designs are prepared and the contractor is procured. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to ask a follow-up question on this very, very important road linking Serenge and Pika. Minister of Infrastructure, you've indicated that 30 kilometers of the works already has financing and will commence at the time you've indicated. Then the remaining over 200 kilometer stretch, you've indicated that government is mobilizing funds. Are you able to indicate to the public through this August House whether the funding for the remaining stretch will be through a loan or it will be through private-public partnership? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
I thank the Honourable Member for Kafisa for the follow-up question. Just a little bit of background to this. The project that was funded by the African Development Bank is from Chinsali to Isoka and Isoka to Nakonde. These projects are almost complete, and it was realized that there was some savings on those projects, and therefore government approached the African Development Bank and to request that the remaining funds be used for the portion from Chinsali to Mpika, Mpika to Serenge, which I must state that government is fully aware of the very bad state of this section of the Great North Road. And this permission was given, and that is why 30 kilometers of the Mpika Serenge is covered under this program. In terms of the remaining section, we are making frantic efforts as government to attract potential concessionaires to work on this particular road. However, the process is still very much in the preliminary stage, and if funds are found within government, we may then be in a position to circumvent the process of awarding this to as a PPP. But all discussions that I've held with the potential investors, we have clearly indicated that the Mpika all the way to Chinsali is available as a PPP, because all the traffic from Nakonde will pass through that particular section. And if you look at Mpika to Serenge, it will even have more traffic because vehicles or travelers going to Kasama, to Mbala, to Mpulungu, and so on, also use that particular section. Some potential investors have indicated their interest, but we are yet to see a bid on this particular one. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Madam Speaker, I thank you. Madam Speaker, last week the Minister of Home Affairs did indicate that at the period between September 2021 and August 2022, the Great North Road registered 1,855 accidents. And of those, 324 were fatal accidents. Those of us, Madam Speaker, who depend on this road to get to our constituencies would wish to place on record that this road is a death trap. The section being referred to between Serenge and Mpika is a death trap. We get into the rain season, Madam Speaker, there's going to be calamities. And I don't wish to be a prophet of doom, Madam Speaker. In coming to my question, this road is a gateway into East Africa. It's an economic road. What do we expect in terms of difference? What difference is the new Dawn administration going to make on this particular road, especially the hardworking ministers, Honorable Milupi is? What difference? Because this problem, Madam Speaker, cannot be postponed into next year. It cannot be postponed into next year. We'll have loss of life and loss of... So what difference is the Honorable Minister and the New Dawn government assuring the users of this particular road that they are going to make this time around? Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Kanchiwea for the follow-up question. Let me state from the outset that, and the compliments are welcome, and we need more of those to encourage us. Let me start from the outset that we sincerely and truly feel the pain with which he's asking this particular question. Those of us who have been on that stretch of road can attest to what he's indicating there. But the question that he's asking is, what is the New Dawn government going to do or doing about the particular situation? In answer to the first follow-up question, I talked about long-term, what we are going to do in terms of the 30 kilometers and the possibility of PPP. As an immediate measure, the government has awarded a periodic maintenance contract to China Geoengineering Corporation to maintain the section of the Great North Road from Lukulu River to Chinsali, which is outside really the area that this question is, but just for the information, whose works are currently ongoing and are scheduled to be completed by December 2023. For the Honourable Member who is astounded by the mention of Lukulu, yes, there is Lukulu on that road. The scope includes pothole patching, reconstruction of 6 kilometer stretch, temporal gravel works and drainage works, and edge repairs. This particular project was awarded at a contract sum of 101 million kwacha, and the contractor so far has attained progress of 55%. Now, these works that are being done on the section from Lukulu to Chinsali will extend on the other part of the road, including the one going all the way to Mpika, so that some remedial work is undertaken whilst we are waiting for a much more permanent solution. Government does understand the importance of the Great North Road to the economy of this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kanchiwea.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm grateful that the periodic maintenance the Minister has referred to does not apply to this particular section of the road under consideration. And the question then would be whether we expect government to engage a contractor to perform similar works as China Jiangxi, if I got the minister correctly, is doing on the other stretch. And when do we expect this particular extension? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Actually, it's China Geoengineering Corporation. Let me state this, Madam Speaker. Government had no resources to carry out in-house works. And we all pinned our hopes on the debt restructuring, and we kept saying when that is done, we'll probably come back to this house. We have developed a list of key roads that need some urgent attention. And as you know, the hardworking Minister of Finance and the President have achieved that which many people thought would not be achieved. We have the restructuring. The next thing we are waiting for is the new Dawn government, through the Minister of Finance, to come to this House with a supplementary budget. So I urge everyone to wait. I'm not saying we're going to address all the issues that require funding because of that supplementary budget. But there will be an order of priority setting. So I ask that we wait and see what comes in the supplementary budget. It's at that point that we'll be able to address some of these questions more thoroughly than I can do at the moment. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Waja.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to ask the Minister of Infrastructure and Urban Development a follow-up question. Minister, in responding to part B of the question, if so, when the plans will be implemented? If I got you clearly, Honorable Minister, you indicated that when the contractor and the supervisor are engaged by this government through your ministry, would you be clear, Honorable Minister, when the contractor and the supervisor will be engaged by the government through your ministry? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
That answer, Madam Speaker, was with respect to the 30 kilometers stretch that is being funded from the remainder of the funds from the African Development Bank. In terms of the engagement of the consultant and the contractor, the process has started, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Kafue.
Thank you very much. It's good to hear from the Minister that government is considering bringing a supplementary budget. And this indeed will be good for the Serenja-Mpika road. But I also wanted to find out if the Minister in that supplementary budget and on the priority roads, whether some other critical roads like Shantumbu would be part of that consideration. I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honorable Member for Kafue, Honorable Chonya. Let me state that the level of neglect on our infrastructure is colossal, or was colossal. So when we seek to address that neglect, it cannot and will not be done at one go. So I can mention a number of roads that are equally critical, that are equally in bad state throughout this country. So what will happen is we will line up all the roads and use some mechanisms to select those that go first and those that go later, and so on and so forth. As to whether the Shantumbu Road is part of this, that cannot be answered at this particular time. It has to wait until this exercise is done. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, if there is an issue when the minister is responding brings out to the floor, then I don't see anything wrong where the members can make a follow-up question on the issue that has been mentioned by the minister himself or herself. The Honorable Member for Isoka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Isoka to ask a follow-up question. Honorable Minister, when did you last use this stretch in question? Because I hear that local investors and businessmen have stopped using that road because of the state, because of its state. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
I thank the honorable member for his soccer, but she's asking when did I last go into that part of the country. I think last month I was in Kasama. I think people saw me in Kasama. So I have no problems going there. But besides, government is represented by many functionaries. Whether the minister himself or herself goes there is immaterial. It does help to know exactly what's going on. And I do like traveling to check on the spot what's going on throughout the country. But when you are saying, when did I last go there, the main issue is to understand and everyone to know that that stretch of road is in bad condition. Over that, there is no question, Madam Speaker. Whether I'm there or not, it's in bad condition. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, I'm grateful. I'm also concerned because this road covers part of Chitambo. Minister, you just made a government assurance today that the 30 kilometers has the resources and it shall be done. And following the question from the Member of Parliament for Wacha, you haven't given us the time frame in which the procurement stages will be done. The people of Kanchivia, including the people of Chitambo, really want to know when you are going to contract the supervising consultants and also the contractor, so that we can tell them that this road will be done at this particular time of the year. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honorable Member for Chitambo, Honorable Remember Mutare. I have said that the process has started. That process will be done within this year. Within this year, it will be completed. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kaumbwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. It's good news to hear that there were some savings on Chinsali Road that was funded by ADB, and the funds, the savings are going to be used on the Pika Serenge 30-kilometer section. What is the total amount of savings that you have earmarked for this 30-kilometer section on the road, and how are you going to select the section? Because the total stretch of the road is 235, I think. So the 30 kilometers, how are you going to select the section? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, I would not have the exact figure, but we worked it out, and we found that the amount of money can cover the 30 kilometers based on the per kilometer cost that was achieved on the Chinsali all the way to Nakonde. That's what I could say on this particular one, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
The last one, the Honorable Member for Lukasha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I was almost beginning to forget the question. Honorable Minister, I just wanted to find out, can you give the people of Zambia the comfort of understanding whether the contractor who will be identified will be a local contractor, and also when exactly that contractor will take this site? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
One question. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I thank the Honorable Member, Council Chisanga. For his question. All I can say is, in fact, the question really passed me, Madam Speaker. Maybe if you can repeat so that I know how to answer him.
The Honorable Member for Lukasha.
I'm honored, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I wanted to find out if the Zambian can get the comfort of knowing if the contractor who will be identified this time for this road will be a local contractor. The other part of the time, I think I've been inhibited from asking it. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, that's why I was having difficulties, because I have tremendous respect for the Honorable Member. Who is asking whether the contractor will be local or not local. I don't know what local means. All I know is all the contractors that we engage on these roads are registered here locally in Zambia. What is important to us is that a contractor who will be able to do the road to very high standards. If you go to the section between Chinsali and Isoka, you'll find that the road is done to very, 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 very high standards. And in fact, from Isoka all the way to Nakonde, it is also, quite good. So what concerns government is that the contractor who is picked is able to undertake that work. And we shall start with the west sections. Is able to do it to the very high standards. If by local he means a company purely owned by Zambians, in selecting who does this work, the first thing we look for is ability to deliver to specified quality and to specifications. That is what is important to this government. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We make progress. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chadiza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. People of Chadiza asking question 347.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Chadiza is Honorable Daka is asking the following questions. Whether government has any plans to construct bridges across the following rivers in Chadiza parliamentary constituency. 1, Mwangazi in Mwangazi Ward. 2, Mwami in Kumba Ward. And 3, Mkumbuzi in Mkumbuzi Ward. And 2, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and C, what estimated cost of each project is, and D, if there are no such plans, why? We answer as follows, Madam Speaker. The government has plans to construct bridges at the following river crossing points in Chadiza parliamentary constituency. 1, Mwangazi in Mwangazi Ward. 2, Mwami in Kumba Ward. And 3, Mkumbuzi in Mkumbuzi Ward. B, the plans will be implemented once funds for the works have been secured by the Treasury. C, the estimated cost of each project will only be known once the detailed designs have been done. And the D, as indicated in item A above, the government has plans to construct bridges at the crossing points of the rivers. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chadiza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, thanks a lot for those responses. Minister, just a bit of history on these the proposed sites for bridges. Mwangazi River, the crossing which is being proposed at Mwangazi River, they constructed the vented drift. A vented drift is your lower level bridge, which allows water to overflow during the rain season, and dries up late, and the passengers actually take advantage of that. Mwami, they constructed a box culvert, which, because of not following the principles of correct engineering, was undermined and it was washed out. And then at Mkumbuzi, the same applied. It's not that there's never been bridges. There was a bridge or a box culvert, a 2,000 by 400 box culvert, which was constructed across the Mkumbuzi River. But because of neglecting the core principles of engineering, of correcting the right positioning of the bridge, correct size, and the right structural properties to be picked so that the designs that the engineers come up with are followed. However, because of these inefficiencies,
Honorable member, are you debating your bridges now? What is the question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm trying to help the minister respond to my question by giving him further details to what he has mentioned. Honorable Minister.
Order, honorable members. The voices again are becoming too high. We can't get the question from the honorable member for Chadiza. Let's lower our voices. The honorable member for Chadiza, summarize your...
Honorable Minister, what I'm trying to say is that it's not that there hasn't been funding to construct these bridges, but lack of capacity on the side of the people who are designing and constructing these bridges, it led into government to lose a lot of resources. Now that you have known this, Honorable Minister, how do you intend, at the point at which the funds are going to be made available, to control and ensure that we provide resilient and sustainable infrastructure to that effect? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And first of all, I'd like to thank the Honorable Member for Chadiza, and also to recognize that he's asking those questions from the perspective that he's an engineer himself. So he knows the advantage of having properly designed structures. Madam Speaker, it's difficult sometimes to answer for those who were there before us. All I can say is in our time, works will be done correctly. There will be proper designs, and that is why this government, through the Road Development Agency, shall endeavor to undertake remedial works to ensure that the crossing points are made safe for road users as major permanent works are being awaited. Okay? And in fact, to agree with the Honorable Member, the Mwangazi and the Mkumbuzi streams, as he knows, are seasonal and become challenging to cross during the rain season, while the Mwami stream is a perennial stream, and that means the water flows throughout the year. When funds are available, I can assure the Honorable Member that the works that will be done will be of a higher standard than that which has prevailed hitherto. There are a number of roads where we have been on site, and we have been asked to be a bit more considerate, where we have asked that roads actually be uplifted, because the previous designs are the ones that are causing premature failures. I can give an example of the Tuta Road, 20 kilometers either side of the bridge, that needs to be lifted and so on. So even these bridges that are overrun by water during the rain season, when we construct permanent structures, we'll make sure that issues of that nature will be things of the past. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chadiza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, we appreciate, people of Chadiza appreciate those responses. Honorable Minister, this road on which these crossings are connects my constituency to Vobwe and the 6 other wards. Honorable Minister, during the rain season, it's a nightmare for the people across to access facilities from the CBD, especially the health facilities. And also during the distribution of farming inputs, it's a challenge. Because if you delay a bit, which means for that particular year, you won't be able to distribute those farming inputs. In the interim, Honorable Minister, to avert the sufferings of the people of these aforementioned wards, what is government position? What is it that government is going to do to alleviate, just in a temporal manner or on a short-term basis? How do you intend to save the much-needed services by these very poor communities of my constituency? Honorable Minister, I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Government is fully aware of the situation prevailing along that area. Roads like Chipata to Vobwe, Chipata to Chadiza, Chadiza to Vobwe. We are fully aware of the need to carry out some works there. In his first follow-up question, I did say that government, through the Road Development Agency, shall endeavor to undertake remedial works to ensure that the crossing points are made safe for road users as major works are being awaited. So that is our commitment. And I urge Honorable Daka, the Honorable Member for Chadiza, to engage not only with us, but also with the regional office to ensure that some works are done. And if there are any difficulties, we could be contacted, certainly at the ministry, to make sure that we make life easier for the people using those roads and those bridges. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Isoka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for according the people of Isoka to ask a follow-up question to the Minister of Infrastructure. Honorable Minister, now that you have achieved the debt restructuring, when exactly are the funds going to be secured by Treasury for those bridges in Chadiza to be worked on? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I expect that members of Parliament will know their role in terms of allocation of resources. There will be no money that is issued by the Treasury or by anybody that is not covered by the budget. What we are saying here is we expect that the minister, when the time is right, to come to this House with a supplementary budget, which members, like the Honorable Member for Isoka, will be able to debate, and upon debate, pass it or reject it. That's when funds, the disbursement, will follow that process. So let's wait and see until such time as the budget is brought here. And I urge that when it does come, that we support it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, once more. And thank you very much, Honorable Milupi. Madam Speaker, let me begin by applauding and thanking Honorable Milupi for actually coming to my aid over the bridge that was so perennial in my constituency, which bridge is now passable as I'm speaking. Honorable Minister, in your answer in part C, where you said the estimates are not yet known, Honorable Minister, don't you think it would be helpful to my honorable colleague from Chadiza to know the estimates from your office, so that probably he may fall on the CDF, knowing very well that the Minister of Local Government has actually encouraged us to use part of the CDF, especially on the crossing points. Don't you think it would be advisable to come up with the estimates so that you can advise accordingly, my colleague from Chadiza, instead of waiting for the funds from the Central Treasury? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Honorable Member for On, Honorable Chibuye. That's a very good suggestion. But in terms of getting an estimate, that's why I asked the Honorable Member for Chadiza, who is an engineer himself, that to liaise closely with not only with the Ministry, of course, but more importantly, with our local office in Eastern Province, that's the regional manager's office there, where if the crossing point, the bridge is such that it can be done fairly cheaply, then that source of funding could be useful. In a number of places, the honorable members here have used the CDF to undertake some works on certain bridges that can be done locally and so on. But where work is substantial and requires the ministry, it's inappropriate for me to give an estimate, because when we go out to contract, we compare the sums that contractors are offering with what we call an internal estimate to make sure that government gets value for money. So in order to do that, you do not announce the internal estimate, because people will bid around it, and then you don't get value for money. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member for Mufumbwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 348.
The Honorable Minister of Health. We have the Acting Minister.
Mufumbwe, thank you very much. I'm sorry, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament from Mufumbwe, Mr. Elliot Kamondo, would like to ask the Minister of Health at A, whether the government has plans to rehabilitate the Mufumbwe District Hospital, at B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, at C, whether there are any plans to construct a maternity wing at the hospital, and at D, if so, when. In response, Madam, the government indeed has plans to rehabilitate certain departments of the Mufumbwe District Hospital. The assessment of selected parts of the hospital has since been done to quantify and describe some of the works required to renovate certain infrastructure, that is to say the maternity wing and also the children's ward. At B, Madam Speaker, the rehabilitation of the maternity wing and children's ward at Mufumbwe District Hospital is expected to commence in the fourth quarter of this year, 2023. At C, Madam Speaker, there are no immediate plans to construct a new maternity wing at the hospital, as currently the focus of government is to rehabilitate the existing maternity wing. At D, Madam Speaker, as stated earlier, there are no immediate plans to construct a new maternity wing at the hospital. Therefore, it goes without saying that part D of the question falls off. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Mufumbwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Through you, I just want to appreciate the Ministry for considering Mufumbwe in the fourth quarter. Thank you.
Not a question. Thank you. No more questions. We make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 349.
The Honorable Minister of Tourism.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I'd like to thank the Honourable Member of Parliament from Pika for the question asking my ministry whether government has any plans to rehabilitate the government guest house in Pika district. Madam Speaker, as we strive to answer the question, the government of the Republic of Zambia has no immediate plans to rehabilitate Pika Guest House. I must make mention, Madam Speaker, that the government guest house in Pika district is currently being managed by the provincial administration in Muchinga province. However, Madam Speaker, government has plans to transfer such institutions to the Hostels Board of Management as mandated by my ministry under the Tourism and Society Act. Once this is done, Madam Speaker, government will then develop mechanisms to rehabilitate the guest house. In B, Madam Speaker, if so, when will these plans be implemented? Madam Speaker, as alluded in A, implementation will take place once the government guest house has been transferred to Hostels Board of Management. And the last question, Madam Speaker, whether government will consider public-private partnership arrangement on projects. And our response, Madam Speaker, is that in the short term, government has no plans to enter into PPP. However, in the long term, government will consider entering into PPPs to rehabilitate government guest house and other government-owned accommodation establishments. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kampinsa.
Minister of Tourism, you have traveled locally and you have traveled abroad, and I'm sure you agree with me that most of our infrastructure in terms of hotels, lodges owned by government are not up to the standard. Do you have a program as a ministry to deliberately upgrade the quality of accommodation that is offered by the Hostels Board, especially that it is one of the options that you are considering, to the question that was asked by the Member of Parliament from Pika? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Tourism.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you for that follow-up question for Honourable Member of Parliament for Kampisa. Indeed, we have noticed with dismay a number of accommodation establishments dotted across the country owned by government not living up to the standards that we deserve when we have an opportunity to travel across the country or indeed abroad. I will draw your attention to the Tourism and Society Act number 13 of 2015, Part 7, which mandates my ministry to register and grade all accommodation establishments dotted across the country, be it government or indeed private. So yes, as Ministry of Tourism, through the Zambia Tourism Agency, we have embarked on a mission to ensuring that all public and private accommodation establishments meet the standard that obviously would be amenable to all. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for that response. Honorable Minister, Pika is home to tourism activities owing to the existence of South and North Luanga National Parks, where they are even the only rhinos in our country. Honorable Minister, taking advantage of that, when do you consider to transfer that property to the Hostels Board so that they work on it as a matter of urgency? It starts serving the intended purpose. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Tourism.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you for that follow-up question for Honourable Member of Parliament from Pika. Indeed, the Minister of Tourism has already drafted a CAB memo, which is yet to be presented to Cabinet to approve the transfer of those particular assets that are sitting dotted across the country. And Madam Speaker, I'll take this opportunity to just make mention that most of these properties that we have dotted across the country were owned by the defunct Ministry of Works and Supply, which obviously has been transferred to the Ministry of Infrastructure and Urban Development. However, as one government, we are looking at ways on how we are going to harmonize all these particular facilities to be able to have one asset register that will allow us, for our colleagues within the Ministry of Tourism and that of Infrastructure, to use those facilities for private-public partnerships. And indeed, I'm very excited that one of the areas where we have the rhinos in our country is that near Mpika, and obviously that will be used as a draw card for people to stay at that government guest house, and indeed any other government official when they travel out of this province. Madam Speaker, I submit.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Chipiri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, do you have any time frame for transferring of the same lodge from the provincial to your ministry, so that we understand whether you have any time frame, so that people of Mpika know exactly when this is going to be done, so that you can look after this lodge. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Tourism.
Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me an opportunity, and thank you to the Honorable Member for that follow-up question. The time frame, Madam Speaker, is definitely within 2023, when obviously Cabinet will sit to approve the transfer of those assets to the Hostels Board of Management. But I'm also make mention, Madam Speaker, that these are some of the assets that have been lying idle, dotted across the country, of which we have taken seriously as the UPND government to ensuring that all those assets are, number one, identified by the provincial administration, and number two, to ensure that those assets are actually titled. We have seen in the past that most of these government institutions, government properties, have been left idle with no title, and before long, Madam Speaker, you'd find that those titles, those properties are sitting in individual hands. So indeed, we are in a hurry as government to ensuring that those properties are titled and handed to the respectful owner of these properties, obviously, which is the Ministry of Finance and National Planning. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Lubasenshi. Lubasenshi, sorry.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for permitting the good people of Lubasenshi to ask a question number 350.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member asks the Minister of Agriculture whether the government has any plans to construct irrigation schemes in Lubasenshi parliamentary constituency, and B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, C, where the irrigation schemes will be situated, D, what the cost of the project is, and finally, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, our answer to the Honourable Member is as follows. Yes, government, through the Comprehensive Agriculture Transformation Support Program, has prioritized irrigation for increased production and productivity. Therefore, Madam Speaker, the government has plans to construct irrigation schemes country-wide, everywhere, and that includes Lubasenshi parliamentary constituency. In B, Madam Speaker, the plans have already started in Lubasenshi constituency and they will continue. C, Madam Speaker, the irrigation schemes are situated as follows. 1, Matowe site in Chief Tungati. 2, Sikokonta in Chief Tungati.
Order. The Honorable Member for Mwinilunga can go around to greet the colleagues, I think even at tea break, to avoid distraction and disturbance. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture will continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Further, Madam Speaker, government, through the Zambia National Service, recently rehabilitated Kasokoshi Dam in Masonde Farm Block, which will be used to support irrigation. Madam Speaker, the dam is located in Chief Chipalo, yet again within Lower Senshi constituency. D, Madam Speaker, the cost of the irrigation systems which were mentioned at Matowe and Skokonti sites are called weirs, and these weirs will be between 1.5 to 2 million kwacha per site, while the recently rehabilitated dam costed 2.3 million kwacha. Madam Speaker, in E, therefore, as indicated, the government is already doing the work and is going to continue doing the work countrywide. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Rubasenshi.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for your responses. Indeed, you have given confidence and comfort to the people of Rubasenshi. Those projects were started, I think, way back. Now, I would like to find out from your ministry, Honorable Minister, when you talk about the two irrigation schemes that have been implemented in Chifu Tungati. Honorable Minister, are you able to tell the people of Zambia, in particular the people of Rubansenshi, that indeed these projects are being implemented? Because I'm from Rubansenshi constituency, and last week I was in Chief Tungati. At the moment, there is nothing that we can even talk about. So I would like you as a minister to convince the people of Rubansenshi that indeed those two projects have been implemented. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Definitely, these projects are ongoing. It is pleasant, Madam Speaker, to know that the Honorable Member was there, and I'm sure he bears witness that the works are in progress. What you need to know maybe is how to use the weirs for irrigation. And that, Madam Speaker, we are very happy to discuss with the Honorable Member so that the people of Rubasenshi can have water and cultivate more than once per year. So these projects are there, and we are seriously looking at them. We have the funds to support this, and this is a countrywide program. Every district is going to receive attention. That is how serious the government is looking at agriculture. So, Madam Speaker, I don't know which other means one can use to give comfort to the people of Asenshi that their water problem is being looked at for irrigation. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Rubasenshi.
Honorable Minister, I followed you when you are providing answers. Now, those two projects, which is within Chief Tungati, are you able to tell when these projects are going to be completed? Is it this year, 2023, or next year, 2024?
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, these are projects to be completed this year. And I would like officials in the assurance to take note and ask by the end of the year if they will not be done. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mukushi South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you have indicated that this is a nationwide program. Are you able to give us the areas in each district? I've never saw the cabbage myself. Are you able to give us places where you are going to place these dams countrywide. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
And that should be a document, isn't it, Honorable Member? Or you want the minister to start listing them now, or you expect a document?
No, I'm asking that if he can provide a document for those same projects.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, immediately the document is ready, it will be given to the members because that is how important the issue of irrigation is. I thank you.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Namwala.
Thank you so very much, Madam Speaker. Through you to the Minister. Minister, could you be in position to know how much or what is the budget allocation for all these projects to be actually executed across the country as you indicated? I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, we are looking at close to $100 million, of which half is coming from Zamgro account and the other half should be counterpart fund from the government of Zambia. I thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Pemba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The people of Pemba constituency are happy to be given this opportunity and are glued to Parliament TV. Question 351.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Pemba, Honourable Hamwata, who is asking the Ministry the following questions. One, whether government has any plans to rehabilitate the following roads in Pemba. One, Muzoka to Moyo, and two, Pemba to Mapanza. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. C, what the estimated cost of the project is. And D, if there are no such plans, why? Answer to A, Madam Speaker, the government is aware of the deplorable state of the Muzoka, Moyo, and the Pemba Mapanza roads in Pemba districts and has plans to rehabilitate the road projects. B, the plans to rehabilitate the Muzoka, Moyo road and the Pemba Mapanza road will be implemented once the Treasury secures the required funds. C, the estimated cost of the project will only be determined once the detailed designs have been prepared and the contractor is procured. And D, as stated above, government does indeed have plans to rehabilitate the road projects. For now, I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Pemba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Mapanza Pemba Road, it has over 10 crossing points, which are all in bad shape. Moyo Chisekese Road, it has over 20 crossing points, all in a very bad shape. Moyo Chiefdom is a food basket for Pemba and also contribute to food security of this nation. The Minister, are you considering helping the good people of Pemba constituency with box culverts as an immediate measure so that we can use CDF just to sort out the crossing point while we are waiting for the Treasury to allocate resources to work on these roads? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is the kind of attitude that we like to hear because it is positive And I'll ask Honorable Hamata, the Member of Parliament for Pemba, let us engage where a portion of CDF can be directed towards projects like this. Certainly, my ministry will also do its part to ensure that the job is done. I think as is evidenced by a number of members of parliament who have approached us and they use part of the CDFs for some of the works that are being carried out in their places. So I urge him to engage with us. We will then be able to determine where we need culverts, so those can be provided. In the interim, Madam Speaker, the Road Development Agency in Southern Province region has carried out an assessment of the Pemba-Mapanza Road for the repair stroke rehabilitation of critical drainage structures. That's what he's talking about, using force account. Force account is internal money within the ministry. So if that is supplemented by CDF, a lot can be done. And for these ones, the cost for the interim works assessed by RDA Regional Office has been estimated at about 3,800,000 kwacha. So I urge him, please do come to the office so that we can find a solution to service the good people of Pemba. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Rubasenshi.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the responses. To begin with, I totally agree with you that we can utilize the CDF to do one or two things within the roads sector. Now, my question to you, Honorable Minister, would you think that in the next maybe allocation under your ministry, you are able to engage the members of parliament so that they can be able to help you to sort out these issues using the allocation? Why I'm asking this question, because it seems there is a big gap between your ministry and the constituency where our people are. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Rubasenshi. The development of a national budget, this is a public process which requires that stakeholders are engaged. And there can be no more of a stakeholder than a member of parliament. And it's not just for the Ministry of Infrastructure, all ministries. So I ask that the members of parliament do engage with various ministries during the development of the budget, so that where possible, their needs also in their constituencies are taken into account. I'm very careful in the choice of my words. I'm saying where possible, because as always, for a long time to come, we shall be constrained by the resource envelope. But obviously, as we grow our economy, there will come a time when we'll be able to address it much more than we're able to do just now. So the Honourable Member for Rubasenshi, with respect to infrastructure, is more than welcome to come to my ministry, see me, see the civil servants, so that we can have an input as to what goes into our budget. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We make progress. Next question, it will be asked by the Honorable Member for Mitete on behalf of the Honorable Member for Zambezi East. The Honorable Member for Mitete.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and Minister. Welcome back. I should think your journey was fruitful. Question number 352.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. this is a question that is coming from the Honorable Member for Zambezi East, Honorable Kambita, and is asking the ministry the following questions. A, whether the government is aware that the Zambezi Chitokoloki Road in Zambezi East parliamentary constituency is in a deplorable condition, thereby posing a great risk to the lives of patients being referred from Zambezi District Hospital to Chitokoloki Mission Hospital. And B, if so, what urgent measures are being taken to rehabilitate the road to avoid it becoming impassable, especially with the onset of the rain season? We answer as follows, Madam Speaker. A, government is aware of the poor state of the road and attaches great importance towards ensuring that the road is in a motorable condition. B, the government, through the Road Development Agency, Northwestern Regional Office, has assigned engineers to carry out an assessment with a view of proposing appropriate interventions that can be undertaken on the road. The assessment is currently ongoing and will be completed by the end of this month, that is July 2023. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Mitete.
Minister, thank you so much. Madam Speaker, thank you. Thank you for the assessment that is ending this month's end. What next after the assessment and attaching the risks that have been highlighted and the importance of this Chitokoloki Mission Hospital, which caters even for people from as far as Rukulu and Mitete?
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Mitete for that follow-up question on behalf of the Honourable Member for Zambezi East. For those who are not fully aware, Chitokoloki Mission Hospital is a mission hospital that caters for many, many people from far field, not just those in Zambezi or those around Chitokoloki. People in Western Province know of this hospital, and many people have gone there because of the service that they receive. His question is, after the assessment, then what? After the assessment, it is that will inform us as to how much money is required, and it will be our responsibility then to source that sort of money, and when it is available, we carry out remedial works on this particular road. It really needs to be done so that our people can continue to be serviced by this mission hospital. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Next question. The Honorable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Before I ask a question, Madam Speaker, allow the people of Solwezi East to congratulate His Excellency, our President, for being bestowed with an honorary degree. Congratulations to our President, Dr. Hakainde Hichilema. Madam Speaker, question 353. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Labor and Social Security.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member from Shindamo has asked the question as follows. In A,
how much money was collected by the National Health Insurance Management Authority through member contributions and under the National Health Insurance Scheme from January 2020 to August 2021. Madam Speaker, in response, the total money collected from the National Health Insurance Management Authority through member contributions under the National Health Insurance Scheme from January 2020 to August 2021 was 1,146,171,526.76, split as follows. So basically it was 1.2 billion almost approximately. January, it split as follows. January to December 2020, Madam Speaker, it stood at 506,022,757 million. So 506,022,757. In January, or between January and August 2021, Madam Speaker, it stood at 148,766.76 billion, or million, sorry, it was million. Yes. In the second question, part, which is B, Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member asks how many members were registered with the scheme as of November 2022, and, oh yes, that is C, the next one is C. B is how many members were registered with the scheme as at November 2022. Madam Speaker, I wish to report that the total registered members were 2,742,410. 2,742,410 kwacha. The principal members, Madam Speaker, stood at, out of this number, the principal members stood at 1,991,644, and the beneficiaries of the principal members, who are dependents basically, stood at 750,766. In C, Madam Speaker, how many members benefited from the scheme as of November 2022, those who claimed? Madam Speaker, a total of member claims from hospitals stood at 1,640,760 claims. So 1 million, or so let me just say 1,640,760. This is broken down as follows, Madam Speaker. At 2020, the year 2020, the claims were 89,428, and at 2021 there were 406,939. At 2022 was 1,144,993. I'll repeat that. At 2022 there were 1,144,393 claims that were made. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Momba.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, in terms of your response to the question under C, in terms of the people benefited, are you able to indicate in terms of the disaggregated data as to of that number, how many are found in rural areas where villagers like me live? We just wanted to know, to find out what is the uptake in terms of the rural areas. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Labor and Social Security.
Madam Speaker, may the Honorable Member repeat? Let's hear as whether he was asking for where the claimants live or what. May he just repeat?
The Honorable Member for Momba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, what I'm trying to find out is of that number in terms of the uptake under C, those who benefited under this scheme. Are you in a position to tell us, even in terms of the ratios, what is the uptake in terms of the people who come from the rural areas, a villager like me? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
If you have that information, Honorable Minister. The Honorable Minister of Labor and Social Security.
Madam Speaker, that information can be availed for a letter at a later date, but today the question did not provide any opportunity for us to go and present that information or generate the information, present it, but for the future we can make it available. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Kankoyo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Zambia currently has got 9 million telephone subscribers, and from the information we are getting from the Minister, we only have about 2 million people who are subscribing to NIMA. Is the Ministry considering maybe tapping or expanding the number of subscribers through using mobile subscriptions so that we can increase the number of subscribers to 9 million? I thank you.
Thank you. Except that this figure is for 2020 to 2021, so now maybe the figures have increased. The Honorable Minister for Labor and Social Security.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank the Honorable Member. That is the aspiration that we have, as it is that NIMA as a health insurance scheme was founded in order to respond to the need for universal health coverage. So the aspiration is that we must go beyond. And one of the initiatives, Madam Speaker, which has been undertaken by NIMA is definitely to collaborate with the other social security institutions, such as NAPSA, workers' compensation, to compare the databases so that that information is made use of, is used or utilized for the outreach activities that are taking place right now very aggressively, that the Honorable Member might note that the informal sector is doing very reasonably, let me say, relatively well compared even to the public sector, that the reach is becoming wide and broader. So we are indeed taking those initiatives to work with others, including ZRA, to look at the database of employers, of taxpayers who are, of course, involved in business, so that we are able to use that for reach out for more outreach activities for NIMA. Madam Speaker, we are attending to the concern the Honourable Member has expressed on the floor of the House. I am sure as we provide data for end of year, he will realize that there's good progress that is taking place in trying to get more claimants who should enjoy the benefits of the health care that will be procured through this insurance package. I thank you.
The Honourable Member for Chimwemwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Minister, I hope I got you right. The last figures, I hope you were talking about the number of people that benefited and not the money. So do you have any figures with you, like how much was paid for those beneficiaries? In case you don't have the figures, Madam Speaker, sorry, your minister, do you have any figures of the money that remained unpaid? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Labour and Social Security.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank the member for that question. Basically, I can provide a generic picture, Madam Speaker, because I do not have the specific figures, but I can assure or provide information to the floor of this House, to this August House, that in this moment, generally, as you would have heard from previous presentations, including the one which was done by the Minister of Health, is that unlike NAPSA, unlike NAPSA, a social security package like NAPSA, or scheme like NAPSA, where you pay in and it takes a while, a number of years for you to claim. For NEMA, you put in today, tomorrow it goes out. So what I would give, the picture I would give you today, Honorable Member, through you, Madam Speaker, is that we are at that point where the payments into the scheme, the contributions into the scheme, and the claims are almost interlocking. And so you have heard about the sustainability initiatives that are being proposed and discussed in the background.
Order, Honorable Minister. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes.
Good afternoon. We would like to thank you for your viewership. The House currently considering question 353, understanding order number 74, and this one was posed by Solezi East Member of Parliament, Mr. Katakwe. He did ask the Minister of Labour and Social Security a question in three parts. That's how much money was allocated, was collected by the National Health Insurance Management Authority through member contributions under the National Health Insurance Scheme from January 2020 to August 2021, and in response the Minister did say that it was approximately 1.2 billion. In the other part of the question, Mr. Katake wanted to find out how many members were registered with the scheme as of November 2022, and the Minister did say that 2,742,410 members were registered. And in the last part of the question, the Member of Parliament wanted to find out how many members benefited from the scheme as of November 2022, and the Minister did say that 1,640,760 claims were actually made. So that's the question that members of Parliament are currently considering on the floor of the House.
Yes, and the House has so far considered one question for oral answer under Standing Order 76, 9 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 76, and still to come on the order paper we have 3 more questions for oral answer under Standing Order 76, and resumption of debate on the report of the Committee on National Security and Foreign Affairs on the report of the Auditor General on the control and regulation of illegal migrants in Zambia for the second session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on Friday, 23rd June 2023. And so we'll be giving details for these later on. For now, we take a break. Remember, business of the House will resume at 17 hours. Keep watching Parliament Television. Good afternoon.
I'm Honorable Dr. Alex Katakwe, Member of Parliament for Solwezi East Constituency, which is Mushindamo District. I was born in Northwestern Province, and brought up in Northwestern Province. Of course, I did my grade 1 to 7 at Yowela Primary School, which is within my district. Then went to Kasempa Boys Technical School for my junior secondary school. And then I was selected at national level to go to Hillcrest National Technical School that time. And I completed my grade 12 at Hillcrest National Technical School. Of course, I come from a family of 7 and I'm the third born. And I'm now 49 years old. I joined politics at 47. So initially I like indicating my initials as AK-47, meaning Alexander Katoko at 47 when I joined politics. So basically I trained through the universities, the areas of sciences, medical sciences, then later on joined briefly the Ministry of Education, rose to the position of a lecturer, training science teachers, and later on I went back for my medical studies and rose up to the level of completing my master's in medicine as a medical parasitologist. And what prompted me indeed to join politics is because of my initial background where I come from, Solwezi East. I was young. The road going to the border, that is the Kipushi border, still remained in a dilapidated way up to now as I'm getting old, and also looking at the suffering of our people when it comes to issues of road network, internet connectivity, water, education, in terms of agriculture, name it all. Our people in Solwezi East have lagged behind. So because of the suffering of our people, I said the only way I can bring development is to get involved by getting home and stand as a member of parliament to represent them. I looked at my predecessors. Indeed, they did their part, but nothing meaningful came to our district in terms of development. So that ignited the impetus within me to venture into politics. And of course, I had to leave my profession. One other reason was to change policies when it comes to education, when it comes to health. One has to be in the inner circle in order to have authority and power to change the scenario. So I am still very, very hopeful that under the leadership of His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the President of the Republic of Zambia, and me as a member of parliament serving under him, we will be able definitely to advance our agenda in terms of prioritizing health, the health sector, the education sector. So those are some of the catalysts, if you like, that made me to get into politics. Well, my constituency, which is predominantly rural, is part of Northwestern. So Solwezi East is a district that basically borders our Mushindamo district, so to speak. It is predominantly rural. It covers a distance of about 130 kilometers from our constituency office, which is based at St. Dorothy. Going furthest south is 206 kilometers. Going up north to the border with the DRC, it is 140 kilometers. So you notice that it is vast and predominantly rural, bordering Chingola, Chililawombwe, then Ilufwanyama, Kasempa, Solwezi Central, and even part of Kalumbila, and also coming to the DRC. So it is a vast, vast constituency. But in a nutshell, it is